My name is Joe Reele. I am Vice President of Solution Architects here at Schneider Electric, and I essentially work with the C-suite and director level of all of our clients, helping them to establish their global data center strategy and the best performance of their existing portfolio. The edge. The edge is vast. It's incredibly vast. But contrary to some people's opinion, the fall from the edge in some places is not very far at all. In other places it's incredibly steep. So the edge is application-based. Contrary to a lot of what people say, the edge is, well, it's going to be very small and it's located in X, Y, and Z, and that's simply not the case. There are plenty of examples of a data center being built and then it is leased. And sometimes it's leased to a wholesale enterprise, and that becomes just an extension of the enterprise data center in a sense. In some cases, we have content providers. We have 6 to 10 to 12 carriers, fiber. And now when I have carrier and I have content providers and I'm serving out information, suddenly that's an extension of the core, which then becomes the edge. And an edge can be a 2U device in a rack tucked under somebody's desk, or it also could be a 5 megawatt data center chock full of all the content providers and all of the stuff that we use on a day in and day out basis. So the edge is incredibly vast, and it covers every industry that we have. This is not something that people are generally talking about. So for example, there's the healthcare edge. And what I mean by that is we're doing robotic surgeries today. That robotic surgery is not being conducted somewhere in Ashburn, Virginia, in a hospital in Southern California. So we have a healthcare edge. We have an industrialized edge, which is really very exciting. An utility edge. We have so many edges that all end up coming back to the core of what edge is, and that is, I am going to take all of the smart and connected devices that we have. I'm going to be able to then leverage that technology and do some whiz-bang things with it that we never really quite imagined before. Maybe we imagined it with the Jetsons, with the watch, way back on the cartoon, okay? But people thought that was far-fetched, never going to happen. Well, guess what? It's here. It's everyday life today. I see people all the time flinging their watch around. That's typically 10 years ago, nobody would ever thought that. But today, all of our devices, geez, we have a residential edge. What? People would say, what do you mean a residential edge? Well, we have a refrigerator that tells us we're out of milk, out of eggs, and oh, by the way, we can even, from our app in the grocery store, turn it on, the camera inside of the refrigerator to see what's in there. Okay, all of these things are coming together now such that we can now take advantage of the technology that we've had for many, many years. My home, as an example, understands when I get home and my lights come on, only if it's dark. So I'm using a weather app, I'm using a location-based service, I'm using a hub inside of my house to turn on the light at the right brightness based on what it is outside. That is amazing. That is also very edgy. And as the edge starts to continue to further develop, I think that we're going to have just a complete proliferation of artificial intelligence, augmented reality, all of these things. In the future, it wouldn't surprise me if we no longer did FaceTime. What are we going to do? A hologram is going to pop up. We might be standing face to face with somebody, not via FaceTime. A hologram may pop up from your phone. These are far-fetched ideas that today we have bright scientists working on. But none of it, absolutely none of it, is going to be a reality without the edge. And today, the reason why some of the technology isn't as fully vested as it once was, or that we're imagining it to be, is because the communication path and the protocols coming from, let's say, a cell tower all the way back to a cloud data center, hyperscale, The communication path, let's go simple. The communication path from a cloud to a regional data center is pretty linear, a straight line. From the regional data center out to the cell tower, it looks like a ball of spaghetti. And that's not an exaggeration. And so imagine the efficiency loss of trying to get to a ball of spaghetti, right? So self-driving cars, same-day delivery drones, don't really bode well with the ball of spaghetti. So the communication path, 5G, as well as the path of communication and the protocols used to get that information from that cell tower and its traffic control back to someplace is got to be, it almost has to come first. We're not going to be able to take full advantage of all the technology unless we start to figure out a better way for the communication path from the cell tower back to the cloud, which today is not a complete linear line. And it needs to be in order for all of the edge to become what we think it's going to become. I thought the edge panel was very thought-provoking for myself. I had the honor to be sitting on that panel with very distinguished people, with a very diverse set of background. And what was clear to me was each of us had a different idea of what the edge is and how it really made sense to people. Some people said, well, the edge is something that is less than 1 megawatt of power and maybe 25 miles away from something. We don't think that that's exactly correct, but it is correct in his eyes. And the application in the business that he was running, that's how he is defining it. So the edge panel was thought-provoking in the sense that it made us all start to think about, when I said the edge is vast, no wonder why there's different opinions. If it was so narrowly focused and so easily understood, there wouldn't be a differentiation of opinions. But since the edge is so very vast, everybody has a little different understanding of what it is and how it is, and I don't think anybody's wrong, actually. But in a broad term, that edge panel was, I believe, one of the best panels we had yesterday, and the reason for that is the amount of dialogue that took place after that panel amongst all of the panel members, audience members coming up and pulling information from each of us, seemed to be a little bit more demanding than maybe some of the other panels. I think that our panel produced a lot of provocative thinking to our audience, who in turn started to engage in a lot different dialogue after that panel. So I thought it was very good from that context. The barriers to the edge at the moment, I believe, are first a little bit of a technological barrier. But as we all know, those technological barriers don't last very long, and they're easily overcome. So that barrier, I'm going to make a small hurdle. We can jump over that, and we will jump over that. One of the barriers to the edge, I think, is going to be the acceptance that all of these connected devices, all of these smart things are going to have to rely on something much smaller and less grand than we all thought. 10 years ago, there was people saying that we're only going to have big giant data centers in the world. Everybody else, if you're not a big giant hyperscaler, you're going to be out. That's obviously been proven wrong. And so one of the barriers, I think, to the edge is for people, and by the way, this is happening. So the barrier, again, on that piece, again, is a small hurdle. I don't think that there is a tremendous barrier to the edge that's going to prevent the edge. I don't think that there's a barrier. Small hurdles, yes. Barriers, no. One of the great things about DCD is the amount of industry experts that come together from varying aspects of all the data center business. Some are enterprise, some are cloud, some are co-location, okay? They are all here together as a brotherhood, as a fraternity. DCD brings the industry together so that we, as thought leaders, can bounce our ideas off others and really start to get it right. Without DCD, thought leaders are going to be on some forum without the interaction, without the ability to learn. DCD brings learning, DCD brings thought leadership, and DCD brings a tremendous amount of camaraderie and friendship in the industry. That is important, which is why our industry is one of the very few industries that does not seem to be impacted by economic downturns. So the atmosphere here is tremendous. It's again, it's a fraternity of diverse people, which is key, with diverse industries, which is key, and thought leaders to come out. You create an atmosphere of a safe haven for thought leaders to come out with very provocative, very industry-leading things. The great thing that I like about it is, if I'm wrong, I'm going to be told I'm wrong by people that have the experience, the credibility, and the background to back up their claims, which is what makes this industry move forward. DCD is a catalyst for the industry moving forward, allowing a safe haven for thought leaders to come in and discuss things that maybe is a little bit provocative even within their own company. Here it's a safe haven to discuss ideas. It creates the momentum that creates the ability for the data center industry to continue to lead in technology. We are, how do I say this? Without the data center, there is no internet. Without the data center, there is no social media. The data center is the core foundation now of the world. Imagine the world without a data center, and you imagine no social media, you imagine no technology. All of the things are going back almost 50 to 100 years without a data center. The data center is defining the world today in a way that has never been really shaped before. Without the data center, our world today is almost back in the dark ages. The speaker we had that was discussing the shift in human thinking, the way us humans are thinking and are interacting and are conducting our daily lives is significantly changing. And all of that can be related back to the data center. Because without the data center, there is none of the things that are causing the millennials to think differently and causing the world to think differently. You see, this whole fabric of the society today and what shapes our thinking and what shapes our behavior, some would say arguably is being shaped by technology. And technology emanates, it oozes from the data center. People that don't want to be tethered to an office. I want to come and go as I please. I don't want a contract. These are habits that old folks like me are having a hard time to adjust to. But our world is being driven by it. And it's all being driven by technology. And again, technology does not start outside of a data center.